I'm wondering, Congressman, when is this shutdown going to come to an end?
You know, we've been introducing and passing legislation out of the House with bipartisan support since Saturday night or early Sunday morning. And we're going to continue today. We're going to try to bring the Senate to the table and try to come to some kind of solution. As of right now, we have, we're going to meet in about 30 minutes back here in Washington, the California Republicans, or not California, the Republican Party, the Republican caucus of the House, and we'll see what the group is thinking as a whole, and get some ideas from leadership. But had dinner last night with Majority Leader Cantor and a few others, and we're doing our best. I know Boehner's met with the President once. I'd like them to get together again. I'd like to see the Senate have a conversation, but they're not willing to come to the table.
Some people on the left are saying that John Boehner is holding Americans hostage right now. What do you say to that?
Well, it's tough to say something like that because we've done everything in our power to give them the funding of the government. We've done it 3, 4, 5, 6 different times, and now we're doing it piece by piece, hoping that they could at least approve portions of it. But the first 3 bills that left the House in a bipartisan fashion were killed by tabling with a simple majority, which only required one side of the aisle. But we've done everything in our power to give them the funding, but they won't take it.
Okay, Obamacare passed. It was upheld by the Supreme Court. Why are so many Republicans still against it?
Well, just like any other law, even the debt ceiling, which we'll be facing here pretty soon, is the law, and the President expects us to change that one as well. But on Obamacare specifically, it was passed, signed into law. We all agree with that. But the President himself has given waivers and different type of exemptions for many groups over a dozen different times. So even he himself acknowledges there are issues. We have some more issues that affect our constituents, and we want to make sure that those are addressed. We've introduced legislation since the beginning of session back in January. There's been little pieces here and there, and there's been obviously some repeals that we've voted on a million times. But we've been at the table trying to have this conversation for a long time. And then it gets to the end, and he says, well, you're holding government hostage. Well, no, we're holding this program hostage because even you acknowledge it's broken. So let's fix it, let's get forward, but let's fund the government and get this thing going. And they're not willing to sit at the table on this one.
Congressman, it seems like a lot of accusations instead of negotiations at this point. In your opinion, is the shutdown all about defunding Obamacare?
No, there's a lot going on, but right now it seems like that's the biggest part of the fight, and it's not even just defunding. Defunding was only the very first legislation that was passed Saturday night, Sunday morning. But now we're looking at delays, individual mandate delays, and it's about fairness for the American people. I mean, you've got different groups from businesses to labor groups across the country who are granted exemptions and waivers, and the American people want the same ability, and that's what we're fighting for here.
Okay, Congressman, I do have to ask, you will get a paycheck at the end of this week. 800,000 federal employees are furloughed right now. Is that fair?
No, I do not get a paycheck at the end of this week. We're paid monthly. I have declined my paycheck, and I have committed to contributing my check to charity for the amount of time that we're in shutdown. The federal employees, when this is all said and done, and in fact legislation is being introduced or was introduced last night that I co-authored, that will make sure that the federal employees get their back pay.
Okay, Congressman, I'm happy to hear that. So tell us, what's going to happen today? If nothing happens today, will you guys work through the weekend?
Well, we're hearing that for sure on Saturday morning we will have some votes. It just depends on what the Senate does. If the Senate doesn't want to come to the table Saturday or Sunday, it makes it really tough for us to do much over the weekend.
Okay, hopefully we can have some sort of resolution by the end of the day today. We are now in hour number 81 of this government shutdown. That is Congressman David Valadao, live from the U.S. Capitol. Congressman, thank you so much for taking some time to be with us.
Sure.
It is now 6:40. Taking a look at some of this morning's top stories. California is now the latest state in the nation to allow driver's licenses to undocumented immigrants. Governor Jerry Brown signed what some consider to be a historic bill into law yesterday. Eyewitness News reporter Jose Gaspar has the latest.